Hey all, Shreya here. Straightly move on to the continuation of Contract Law 1, Unit Number 4, Quasi-Contract. Introduction to Quasi-Contract. A quasi-contract is a legal obligation imposed by law in the absence of a real contract. It is based on the principle of equity, justice, and good conscience, ensuring that no one is unjustly enriched at the expense of another. The Indian Contract Act, 1872, under sections 68 to 72, recognizes quasi-contracts as certain relations resembling those created by contracts. Key provisions of quasi-contracts under the Indian Contract Act, 1872. 1. Necessaries supplied to a person who is incapable of entering into a contract, section 68. If a person supplies necessaries to a person who is incapable of entering into a contract, such as a minor or a person of unsound mind, the supplier is entitled to be reimbursed from the property of the incapable person. Essentials. The goods services supplied must be necessaries, basic needs such as food, clothing, medical assistance, etc. The incapable person must not be able to contract due to reasons like minority or mental incapacity. The supplier can only recover reasonable expenses from the property of the incapable person. Example, a doctor provides emergency medical treatment to an unconscious patient who cannot consent. The doctor is entitled to reasonable compensation from the patient's estate. 2. Payment by an interested person, section 69. When a person, who is not bound to pay, voluntarily pays on behalf of another to protect their interest, they are entitled to reimbursement from the person who was originally liable. Essentials. The person making the payment must have an interest in the payment. The person for whom the payment is made must have been legally bound to pay. The payment should not be gratuitous, i.e., made out of goodwill without expecting repayment. Example, a tenant pays property tax on behalf of an absentee landlord to prevent the seizure of the property. The tenant can recover the amount from the landlord. 3. Liability to pay for non-gratuitous acts, section 70. If a person lawfully does something for another or delivers something without the intention of doing it gratuitously, the other person is bound to compensate if they accept the benefit. Essentials. The act or service must be done lawfully. It should not be intended as a free gift. The other person must enjoy the benefit. Example, a carpenter repairs a broken door in an office without being asked but with the expectation of payment. If the office owner accepts the repair, they must pay the carpenter a reasonable fee. 4. Rights of the finder of lost goods, section 71. A person who finds lost goods and takes them into their custody is responsible for taking reasonable care and returning them to the rightful owner. The finder is entitled to retain the goods until the rightful owner is found. Claim compensation for expenses incurred in preserving the goods. Sell the goods if the owner cannot be found and certain conditions are met. Example, if someone finds a lost wallet and spends money to advertise in newspapers to find the owner, they are entitled to reimbursement of advertising costs. 5. Things delivered by mistake or coercion, section 72. If money or goods are delivered by mistake or under coercion, the receiver is bound to return them. Essentials. The delivery must be due to a mistake, factual or legal, or coercion. The receiver has no right to retain the benefit. Example, if a bank mistakenly deposits 10,000 rupees into A's account, A must return the amount. Quantum meruit. The term quantum meruit means as much as earned or as much as deserved. It applies in cases where a contract is partially performed, but further performance is impossible or stopped. The party who has performed part of the contract can claim reasonable compensation for the work already done. Example, A contractor hired to build a house completes half the work before the contract is terminated. The contractor can claim payment for the completed portion. Remedies for breach of contract. When a party fails to fulfill their contractual obligations, the other party has legal remedies. 1. Kinds of damages. Damages refer to the monetary compensation awarded to the aggrieved party. They are classified as A. Liquidated damages. These are predetermined damages mentioned in the contract. If a breach occurs, the injured party is entitled to the agreed sum. Example: if a builder fails to complete a project on time and the contract specifies 1 lakh rupees as a penalty per month of delay, the builder must pay the specified amount. B. Unliquidated damages. These are damages determined by the court based on the actual loss suffered. The court assesses and grants fair compensation. Example: if a supplier fails to deliver raw materials, causing the manufacturer financial loss, the court will decide the compensation based on the impact. C. Penalty. A penalty is a sum stated in the contract that is disproportionately high and intended to deter breach rather than compensate for actual loss. Courts generally do not enforce excessive penalties and may reduce them. Example: if a contract states that a party must pay 50 lakh rupees for any breach, even if the actual loss is 5 lakh rupees, the court may reduce the amount. 2. Duty to mitigate loss. The injured party must take reasonable steps to minimize their losses after a breach. If they fail to do so, they may not be entitled to full compensation. Example: if a tenant breaks a lease early, the landlord must try to find a new tenant instead of letting the property remain vacant and claiming full rent from the old tenant. Conclusion: quasi-contracts ensure fairness by preventing unjust enrichment. Sections 68 to 72 of the Indian Contract Act impose obligations even in the absence of formal agreements. Additionally, remedies for breach of contract, including damages and mitigation duties, help balance contractual obligations and enforcement. Thank you. Don't forget to watch Unit number 5.